salary you can give.
There is many company maybe give for the clearance 70 KD.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was before 60. Now it became 75 KD. 75 KD is the minimum wages you can provide.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have, for example, here we have to make it very legally. Legally, it's we have to abide by the law, and also it is motivating. The pay has to motivate the employees. It has to motivate the employees. Motivation better, and it has to be adequately you have to provide. Then it is equitable in sense, pay has to be differentiated. For example, for high performers you have to give more, low performer according to the performance. And also equitable means you have to make sure that is complying with the internal equity and external equity. Internal equity, in the sense, you have 3 levels. One is wage level decision. Wage level decision is actually you are looking at the industry wide. You are a consulting. Now, how are your competitors? How they are paying? So you have to make sure your salary is competitive among the industry wide. You are number one. Then your structure, wage level structure. In the structure, for example, you have a risk advisor. This advisor, what sort of grade? You have grade, no? Grade also. This grade may be Mathalan 10, your grade is 10, okay? There are other departments, like for example, this is a tax advisory. Then you have HR, you have marketing, you have sales. There are different departments, right? Different departments. In the same grade, how their salary is on par with your salary. Understand? For example, your advisor here. There is an advisor and HR advisor. There is a marketing, there is an advisor. There is a sales, there is a production. So all the wage structure wise, your band, how you are making it very competitive. Because when you go to a cafeteria, when you speak to your colleagues, you will come to know, come on, you are also in same grade, I am also in same grade. Why there is a difference? You come to know, then you will get disappointed. That is why you have to make sure, it is your salary is competitive among the industry. Otherwise, you will leave the company and join other company because they are paying better salary, right? So that is one wage level, industrial wage level decision. Then wage structure decision. Then your individual wage decision. For example, as an accountant, you have your skills, your competencies, how far it's been paid equitably or competitively. That we need to make sure. These are all coming under equitable, making the salary equitable. Okay. Then you have making it secure. This pay is making your salary a secure job. Is providing a security. Then it is actually making a cost benefit effective. It is, your company incurring a cost by paying a salary, right? And also there are other expenses like benefits, then operating cost expenses, current, electricity, machines, many things, many operational expenses. So you are, while executing the project, you are incurring cost. So the cost and the benefit, cost and benefit, is it, can you make it a balance? That is very important. So if you're able to address all the 6 factors, very, very awesome. We need to make sure all the 6 factors are being, make sure it's been addressed. Otherwise, you'll have a imbalanced, if you want to have a balanced, secure pay, sustainable compensation benefits, very rewarding. It is attracting, motivating, and retaining the people. If you want to do that, then you need to make sure all this are coming. Do you agree? You have any questions?
Yeah.
The compensation system has been shown to realize is what?
Employee satisfaction.
Mona, what's the answer?
If not A, will be C.
Yeah, got it. Okay, okay.
See?
Yeah, see, yeah, you're right. So it is addressing the strategic objectives in the strategic objectives. A good compensation system, includes balance between the internal equity and the external competitiveness. Okay, compensation systems affect the productivity and the happiness of the employees, as well as the ability of the organization to effectively realize its strategic objectives. Okay. You're right. So ultimately, the compensation system, what we are intended to manage, it has to address the strategic objectives of the company. It affects the productivity and happiness of the employees. Got it? And also, we need to make sure a balance between the internal equity and the external competitiveness. That we will see now. What's the internal equity, external competitiveness? We'll address now. Okay, if you look at this compensation framework, Mona, all are with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
You hear me or the voice again?
Yeah, compensation refers to
Yeah.
all forms of financial returns and tangible services and benefits employees receive as a part of employment relationship. You are giving a contribution. You are giving a contribution for your company, and the company is rewarding you. It's a two-way process. Compensation refers to a form of monetary payment provided to a person who has suffered a damage, harm, or an injury. For example, if workman compensation, if some injury happens, occupational hazards, if any of the type of injury happens, company has a premium, insurance premium. They'll cover with the insurance, and then they give a lump sum amount, depending upon your injury and also your occupation. They will first diagnose whether it's related to your occupation. Then after diagnosing, and then they will reward you with compensation. Do you have that? No, insurance policy, right? Insurance cover. So many authors use the term remuneration rather than compensation. Why? Remuneration encompasses all other benefits, right? The packages, something very broad, essentially implying not only the salary, but many other benefits that are included in this package. Okay. In general, remuneration is referred to as the payment made to an employee for his service or work. Okay. Typically, this is the payment of salary or a wage. Remuneration is referred to as the payment made to an employee for his service of work. Okay. Typically, this payment is either it can be a salary or wage. Wage, have you heard about wage? No. For example, there are laborers or mechanic. Those who are menial jobs. No, they have been given a wage. Have you come across this term wage? Not paying monthly, but then that depends upon every day. If they come, there will be a salary. Every day if they come, the days are counted and the hours are counted, and they be paid as a wage.
For laborers.
For lower level, right? For lower level.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let us look at. However, remuneration is much broader and encompasses not only the periodic payment given to an employee, but also other payments and non-monetary benefits. Okay, it is a whole package offered to an employee during his her tenure, during the employment with the employer. That's why we are calling it as a remuneration. So monetary benefits include salary, overtime pay, vacation pay, bonuses, and performance-related payments, non-monetary payments, such as what do you think? Vehicle, medical and hospital insurance, food and shelter, pension, retirement schemes. Then what else? Family support schemes, childcare, subscriptions, and many other benefits we are providing. Remuneration is an important factor, affecting how and why people choose to work at your organization than over other companies. Don't you think that if your remuneration is not competitive, your employees will they join? Will they continue to work with you? Definitely no. Wherever the competitive pay, they will join. The better pay, for the better pay. Of course, because pay matters a lot, for the employee side perspective. So it is actually there are several types of compensation is involved. In order to hire, keep, and reward the performance of individuals in the organization. Okay, there are several important concepts about the compensation we are going to look at now. Okay, first one we are looking at the total reward. Total rewards relates to all aspects of the employment offering, including the remuneration package, base pay, variable pay, and benefits. Okay, as well as the intangible aspects of the psychological contract, such as career development, employee security, and working environment. This all plays a very vital role. Your working environment, climate, what you are creating. This we cannot monitor. We cannot put a monetary value, but then it has got a value. The climate, what you have created. It is actually a key component of any employer brand through which an organization establishes its competitive position in the labor market, and hence determine its ability to, why we are doing this, ability to attract, recruit, retain, and motivate the employees of a required caliber. Okay, formally referred to as a simple compensation benefits. Okay, total rewards. Earlier, they used to call it as a simple compensation benefits. Now the term total rewards, takes on a more creative and broad definition of the ways employee receive compensation, benefits, and perks, and other valuable options what they can get. Are you familiar with the World at Work? World at Work defines this new term. Total rewards include everything the employee perceives to be of value resulting from the employment relationship. Everything what the employee perceives as a value towards the relationship with the, while working with the company, employment relationship with the company, whatever he perceives to be a value resulting from the employment relationship is a total rewards. Okay. Then we look at the administration and optimization. In addition to overseeing the total reward framework, HR professionals must assure administrative efficiency and cost optimization, for designing the total rewards. They have to look at how they can balance out the cost optimization. Because, when you are working in a project-based company, you need to contain the cost. Cost has to be minimal. Cost has to be, very competitive. Otherwise, you cannot overshoot cost. That's why if you look at many of the project-based companies, they are not able to retain the employees. There are high turnover, downsizing, restructuring happening. The continuity of the business is not able to sustain for a long. So optimizing your investment in total rewards begins with the core set of guiding principles and continues with the understanding what the employee values most. Okay. Now let's look at the strategic reward. Okay. Strategic reward, compensation decisions must be viewed. The compensation decision must be viewed very strategically, because so many organizational funds are spent on compensation related activities. It is critical for the top management and HR executives to view the strategic fit of compensation, okay, with the strategies and the objectives of the organization. The changes in the global marketplace for products and services have led the organizational changes in the business philosophies, the strategies, and the objectives. It is evolving. It's continuously changing. Increasingly, organizations are recognizing that the compensation philosophies must also has to change according to the global fierce competition, and also the compensation also has to, the philosophy also has to evolve according to the trends, according to trends. Okay. Let me okay. Now we got the point. Okay, it has to evolve according to the industry standard. Now we are looking at the individual differentiation. Individual differentiation. Here, the differentiation of the rewards is supported where there are differences in the scope of the position within an organizational context. Due to superior individual and team contributions, we need to look at individual differentiation. What do you mean by individual differentiation? For example, hello, I am outside actually. Okay, Mona and Maha, my voice is clear. Everything okay now? So far, so good.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, good.
There is a gentleman called Jack Wells. Jack Wells was working as an engineer in General Electric, one of the Fortune 500 company, leading company. There he got a bonus of $1,000. He was happy. He took it, and then
Oh, wow.
he got the bonus and he was very happy. And then he came and then he settled down, and then he come to know that his peers also got the same amount, and then he got pissed off. He got upset, and he put his paper resignation. He said, how come I put a lot of heart and soul and commitment, and I know I am far above from my colleagues and subordinates. Why am I rewarded equally with others? This is the case. Then that management didn't accept his resignation, but then he became, eventually he moved up the career, and then he became a CEO, and then he introduced this differential pay, where outstanding performers will be significantly rewarded more than the above expectation, meet expectation, those people. So he created this forced distribution with the bell curve. He insisted, and then is widely practiced in General Electric. Why I'm saying this, because the individual differentiation we need to take care of. It is not the equitable pay, as I was telling the Mona before he joined Maha. We have to look at 3 levels of wage level decisions. One is wage level decisions has to be 3 levels. The first one is the wage level decision. The wage level decision, what you are looking at is, for example, you are working in a Kuwait automotive imports, right? So there are other automotive companies like Alshire, Baptain, Almulla, Mercedes. So there are other players. How your competition is competitive enough, is on par with your peer group. If it is not competitive enough, then you lose the employees. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is called wage level decision. Then you have second level is wage structure level decision. For example, I was telling, for example, here, if you look at this board, for example, the tax advisor in the KPMG, grade 10, she's getting certain salary. And across the company, there are the same grade with the same title, are they paid the same salary? For example, you are a HR recruiter, HR or senior officer, for example, your grade is 8, okay? And your salary, if you compare with a recruiter, and you are comparing with finance, for example, finance accountant, and they are also in the same grade. Whether this grade, this band, is it equitable? That you need to look at. That is what we are going wage structure level decision. Then the third level is the individual wage decisions. Here you concern with the individual incentives, merit pay, for the individual. That answers the questions like how much money does the employee receive related to the money received by the employees who perform the similar work. Okay, that we need to look at. And the wage structure decision you are looking at concerns about the pay award to a different jobs within the organization, As I told you, the decision answers the questions, how much money is paid for one job related to other jobs within the same company. How far is this wage structure and wage level, individual wage decision, how much money does the employee receive related to the money received by other employees in my peer. For example, I'm accountant, other accountants also, how they are paid, similar job, similar responsibilities, similar roles, similar work, how they are paid. Now you got the three decisions, how they are making. Got it? Okay.
Yes.
Now let us look at for example, the individual wage differentiation. A reward program for an organization might look very different from a compensation program for the manufacturing group, or you are working in a consulting, automotive company, we have service industry, banks, every industry has got a different ways of paying salary. Or for example, if you are in a sales force, you may have incentives, cash compensation and non-cash compensation. These are all options you might have, according to the industry. The goal of this program is to attract what? You fill in the blank. Attract, develop, and retain the high-performing staff, as well as to differentiate the highest performers so that you can properly reward them. That is the idea behind it. Okay, you got it? You understand? You have any questions?
No.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Now we are looking at the market conformity or the competitiveness. In order for a business to operate effectively, the company needs to develop the compensation strategy that achieves the two goals of rewarding considered fair to the employees, okay, while providing a financial return on investment for the employer. Then pay equity has two approaches. The first is externally driven by the market forces. It is driven by the external market forces. The second is an inward focus, driven by the employer's valuation of the job. Okay. Using market pricing to establish the wages and salary is called, you are using the market salary survey and remuneration survey to fix your market conformity. You are making sure that your salary is on par with your peer group, salary level, same standard. It is called market conformity, or making sure you are making it your pay as a competitiveness. Okay. Achieving external competitiveness in the area of compensation means balancing the need to keep the operating cost, including the labor cost. You are not spending money lavishly for you look at the mechanics. Oh my God, how much effort they are putting under the horse, and they are slogging out, and then you may tend to pay more for the mechanics. What happens when you pay more for certain job category? The other people who are working in a different departments, they may look at there is it's not balanced, so it will create a lot of problem for you. So it's quite complex, and you have to make sure it's very sensitive also. You have to make sure you're applying the market conformity and competitiveness to fix your pay across your industry, across your company. Does it make sense? All of you with me? That's how
Yes.
how to make, you can contain the cost, including the labor cost. Otherwise, one segment will more, and then others also will follow suit, and paying only lavishly, but you're not able to contain the cost. So with the need to attract and retain quality workers, you need to balance it out. External competitiveness is how a company rates of pay compare to those of its competitors. How your company rate of pay, a KPMG or quite the automotive imposed, how it is your pay is comparable to those of your competitors. That is why you're looking at the market conformity or competitiveness. Then we are looking at the internal consistency. The last one here, sixth one, the internal consistency. It's the external equity. Now we discussed about the external equity is one side of the coin. If you look at the other side of the coin, is the internal equity. The employer's perception of fairness called internal equity. Okay, where external equity is a measure of market competitiveness, forming its basis on job functions, duties, all that. Internal equity is a measure of internal worth with a basis in a job autonomy and responsibility. If you have multiple incumbents in the same job title, for example, yesterday the Priya was telling, she got in her medical and equipment, central circle company. They had 90 salesmen. If you have a same title, job title, who are with the same title, same grade, but then paid differently, that differences in the pay are expression of internal equity. Okay, there are some formulas. We can work out salary range penetration and comp ratio. We'll study later. This exercise will help you to figure out where this anomaly, the outliers are coming, and then you can present to the management to justify. Okay, so arriving at a fair compensation is not always easy. Arriving at a fair compensation, equitable pay, is not always easy. Aside from the fact that each position has a unique value to an organization, and not all jobs are created equal. Okay, employers also face the challenges of recognizing and rewarding exemplary performance in a given role. Okay, they are also having, face challenges. Employers also face challenges of recognizing and rewarding the exemplary performance in a given role. It's a very challenging task. It's not easy. Now, can you answer this?
See?
What is one of the advantage of taking a total rewards approach? Now we are discussing, and we are going to discuss again, elaborate. What do you think? Total rewards approach.
Not see?
Yes, spot on. You are right, Mona. C offers flexibility for customizing the total rewards program in a unique proportions. Flexibility.
Mona, she replied.
Mona replied. You're right. Okay, because she attended yesterday. But good. You are very good. That means you are following the concepts and you understand. So why? Because total compensation refers to all forms of effort, all forms of direct and indirect financial compensation and non-financial rewards. The customizable nature, the customizable, you can customize according to your business context. Also, according to the business given cost constraint, you can customize. The nature of total rewards model allows the companies to gear rewards according to their strategy, culture, and the circumstances. According to your circumstances. Your company circumstances differ from another person, Makas, and also mine. So everyone is having a different circumstances, different strategy, and different culture. We cannot take off the self from others and then I can apply. No, it has to be customizable. That's what the total reward approach. And within the total reward also, if you look at there are different components like fixed pay, the base pay, types of base pay, then variable pay, bonuses, incentives, commissions, profit sharing plans, performance sharing plans, all this. Then work-life balance. Now the post-COVID crisis, this is very important. How caring for the dependents, then supporting the health and wellness, creating a workplace flexibility and financial support, security. During this crisis, are you able to support the people? This are all you are looking at the work-life balance. Then the benefits, healthcare, welfare, retirement, and investment plans, and other benefits you are looking at. Okay. Now, are you clear with this? You want to elaborate? If you want to elaborate any one of this component, I will elaborate. You want to know more about? Would you like to? What would you like to know more?
Yeah, please.
Pardon?
Yeah,
Pardon?
better to elaborate little, no?
Pardon again, Maha?
It's clear. It's clear.
It's clear. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you answer this? Which are the following job evaluation methods would provide a small organization with a quick and inexpensive way to compare one to another?
Point factor? I don't know. This is related to that graph.
Mona, can you guess?
One minute.
Books.
What's what again?
A small organization with a quick and inexpensive way to compare one job to another.
A?
Yes, bravo.
Really?
Bravo. Yeah, you're brilliant, spot on. Okay, job ranking is a fairly quick and inexpensive way that is easily explained to managers and employees. However, it may not be clear why one job is valued over the another. Okay, and there may not be much of differential between the jobs. Okay. It's quite possible where you don't have much differences within the jobs. Then it can be easy. Then making the ranking ineffective because the problem with the ranking is actually you can rank those jobs with larger size, major responsibility like managerial jobs, and then lower level officer to the extreme ones you can easily manage, you can easily figure out, and then you can grade them. But then the in-between jobs, overlapping jobs like mechanic, foreman, or quality analyst, estimator, those kind of jobs is quite it's quite challenging. So it is not very clear why one job is valued one other. How you can justify because this is a non-analytic method. Ranking, you're just ranking jobs. For example, I can give you a example, how you can do this ranking and also the point factor. Let's get into the detail now. Before that, here I would like to make sure you understand this variable pay, because the variable pay, if you understand, then okay. I want to just make sure this, because many companies, they are now banking on this variable pay. You understand what is this variable pay?
Better you explain us little. What what I understand is like bonus or incentives and commission. It depends performance based.
Yeah, performance, basically performance driven, as you rightly said, incentive or variable pay, also known as pay at risk. Here, what's the advantage for the employers? Why? Because this after the COVID crisis, they may rely on this variable pay because it is this pay, this known as a pay at risk. If you get more projects or if you get a big deal, then you are significantly rewarded. Otherwise, no, there's no commitment from the employer. I understand. Others, there's a commitment, fixed pay. Yeah, there's indemnity, there's benefits. You have to last them, you have to pay. It's mandatory requirements. But as variable pay is a pay at risk. Compensation that is contingent.
It's something not compulsory, right?
On discretion. Performance or results achieved. Once you achieve the results, then you get the pay. Maka, you're saying something? Why I'm again coming back here?
I mean same only that it depends. It's dependent.
Yeah, it's a depend on the performance. What results you achieve. So much of the innovation in the compensation is occurring in the variable pay element. Companies are making greater use of variable pay programs by expanding them to a significantly broader portion of the workforce that they have in the past. Companies are making greater use of the variable pay. They are making use of this variable pay, expanding them to a significantly broader portion, of the workforce that they have it in the past. Okay, these schemes are adopted by many corporations, in order to improve the employee morale and increase the motivation to work for the employees. It is basically increasing the motivation of the employees. Okay, based on the performance measures and the metrics defined by the human resources of the specific organization, incentive plans are devised and the specific mode of incentives being decided. Okay, this will make clear, no? Okay, would you like to want me to elaborate any other factors now? Shall you move on to the next one? Are you okay?
What is this work-life balance then?
Work-life balance? Yeah, this is very much important now, after post-COVID crisis, the COVID crisis, given, given these circumstances, we need to give more focus towards this work-life balance. Is an umbrella term used to describe a variety of benefit-related incentives to help the employees effectively manage the work. Now you are used to work at home, being close to your child and also managing your family as well as your work. Now if you have been now Tuesday and Wednesday, you have been asked to go back to your work. You may find it very difficult. Quite adjustmental problem will come because you have been used to now you're tasted. Working from home, virtual working. Now it's going to be challenging. Managing your work, family, and personal life without extreme stress or negative impact. That is called work-life balance. Making sure your life and work both are being balanced. Okay. Many organizations report that the balancing work and the family has overtaken other benefits like and compensation items as a key factor in employee satisfaction surveys. Okay, work-life balance is composed of factor in an employee satisfaction survey. It is coming from the employee satisfaction survey. You can infer what is the employees are expecting. Work-life balance is composed of offering in a total rewards package. Total rewards package that addresses the unique individual needs of the employees. It is addressing what the individual is looking for, that you are trying to address. These offerings are important to the employee, but maybe very less tangible than the compensation benefits. It's less tangible than the compensation benefits. Okay, we'll have break for 5 minutes and then come back. Okay, is that okay? Now 1 hour. Okay then.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, Mona, actually, there are 4 types of job evaluation methods. One is non-analytical method and analytical method. Okay. In the non-analytical method, you have ranking methods and the classification. Okay. In the analytical method, you have factor comparison and the point method. Okay. As we see, the non-analytical method looks at the job as a whole, whereas analytical methods designed on the basis of the requirements and the elements of job. Okay, I'm giving an example for how the point method is being worked out. See here, first you need to have common several factors. For example, here the common several factors can be the skill, responsibility, effort, and the working conditions. Okay, and then you have to give a weightage for the skill. You can assign 40%, then responsibility 30%, then effort 20%, and the working condition 10%. Okay, then you assign the points for each level. For example, skills, the weightage, for example, see here is up to 100, and it's broken down. Actually, it's 72, then 48 level, 22, and then 20. And then it starts with 15, 24, 36, 54, and 75. We look at, from working conditions have only 10% weighted, and the points, the maximum points can be 25 points. For effort, 20%, and the maximum points can be 50. Then responsibility, you have 30% weightage, and then the maximum point can be 75. Then your skill with a weightage of 40%, and the maximum point can be up to 100. Got it? So this is how the common several factors, you can be anything. Common several factors, for example, in your case, it can be a tax advice. You can have accuracy or the consistency. Whatever the competency, you can have the common several factor, and then you'll assign the weightage and the responding points you will assign. Then, for example, if you want to drill down for Maha working in an automotive company, where she got an operator, operator or mechanics. In their level, the compensation factors can be, what they can have. For example, the skills, the degree can be 3, and the points can be assigned to 48. Points can be 48. Then the responsibility, the points can be 2, and degree can be 2, and the degree 2, what is the value? 24. The 24 has been assigned. The effort, you have 4, that is 36. 36. And then for the working conditions, you are assigning the degree. What degree? 4. That is required for the particular job. The operator level, you need to have skill at the degree of 3 level, third level, and the responsibility at the level of 2 only. That is only 24. Then the effort at the degree of 4, the points will be assigned 36. And then you have working conditions at the point of degree of 4, and the points is assigned 80. So if you sum up, the total points can be 126. 126 is a total points you can have. 126 points. Now Ranjita is joining.
But we cannot see the board.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, we try, but it's very far.
very far, is it? Okay. Let me. Now. Just to get an idea of how it looks like, the comments, the point factor. It looks like common several factors you put. For example, the skill, responsibility, effort, working conditions, all that. Then you assign the weightage. For skill, maybe 40%. Then responsibility 30%. Then effort 20%, and working conditions 10%. Then the degree points can be ranging from 20, 22, 48, 72 up to 100 points for the skill is given a more weightage, 40%, and the responsibility 30%, effort 20%, working conditions 10%. Okay, then accordingly you have points, and the maximum it can go up to 25, 50, 75, and 100. Okay, then the compensable factors, for if you apply to a specific job, with this framework, if you want to apply to a specific job, for example, see, it's an automotive company, say he wants to apply for the operator, or the mechanics or the electrician. So if you take that skills, that is from the framework, is a third degree. That is a skill at the third degree is 48. Skill at the third degree is a 48. That 48 point you assign. Then the responsibility degree of 2, that points 24 points you assign. Then then you have effort at the degree of 4, that 36 you assign. Then working conditions, points 4 at the degree, then that will be assigned 18 points. So the total points are 126 points. 126 points. Understand? You need to, because many of the companies, they have the point factor system. So if you're able to understand point factor system, then it is highly useful for you. You can easily apply, and you can relate with your experience. Okay, let us see what's a point factor. If you look at this, the analytical, the point method is a complex job, very, very complex job evaluation technique. The point method requires evaluators to, are you with me? The point factor, it requires the evaluators to assign the points to a number of compensation characteristics based on, as we see in the example, skill level, responsibility, effort required, what else we saw, and the working conditions, skill, responsibility, effort required, and the working conditions. They then assess the level to which each of this is present in the job, and they assign the points accordingly, where they stand. For example, operator level, we have given a skill at the degree of only third level. For example, manager, the skill we can give for senior level, foreman, you may give 4. That will have weightage of the points will be 72. Here at the third degree, it is having only 48. Okay. So the jobs and then points are assigned accordingly. The jobs with the highest points garner the highest pay. The more the points, the more the pay is been determined. This is a very popular technique. That's why I'm giving an example and elaborating more. Okay. Then what is a factor comparison? Factor comparison is a very sophisticated yet very time-consuming method. Utilizes the techniques found in several job evaluation schemes. The first step in a factor comparison involves assessing each job, based on a characteristics used in the point method, but without assigning the points. Okay. Next, evaluators analyze their findings against the market rate of the pay for the compensation factors ranked in the first step. Okay. Finally, they established external benchmark jobs, that they use to compare the jobs and its compensable characteristics to determine the rate of pay. Here, they are not only doing the, analysis of what is in the job, but then they are also comparing with the peer group. What in industry, what is prevailing? For example, you have 40 or 50 jobs. You may take a sample of 10 to 12 or 15 benchmark jobs. the key jobs. You have general manager to foreman and mechanic, electrician, and labor, all the category. So among that, you randomly, pick up the key jobs. Those jobs has to be, defined very well. Their title, their responsibility, job description, everything has to be clearly defined. Then you take this 20 benchmark jobs, and then you compare with the market, where they are standing, where this job is ranked, been rated in the industry peer group. Then you come out, whether what to pay, what's the median pay in your company against the median pay of the market, whether it's comparable or not comparable. That way you try to figure out. Okay, which of the following is not used as a method to segment a relevant labor market? Which of the following is not used as a method to segment a relevant labor market?
C.
Come again?
Is it C? Because geographic.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, spot on. So income level, you may look at the geographic, type of skills and industry, and the income level. For the compensation purposes, the relevant job market is defined as a market from which an organization secures a new employees or to which it loses the current employees. Okay, income level is not a traditional labor market for a survey purposes, whereas a geographic, skill, and industry represent a relevant defined labor markets. Okay. Now we look at this, the framework of remuneration survey, how the process flows, the process flow. The survey, remuneration survey, for example, you wanted to implement and you wanted to give a promotion, or you wanted to do a major revision of your employee salary across the company. You want to revise, whether your salary is on par with the market, or the cost of living is going up, shooting up, inflation rate. So you want to make sure your salary also, on par with the COLA, cost of living index, or consumer price index, CPI. So what you do, you engage a consultant, or you do a survey among the peer group. What is the salary prevailing? It's a systematic process of you collect the data, making judgments about the compensation paid by other employees, how they are paying your competitors, peer group. Survey provides the data for translating the policy into a pay levels and the pay mix and the structures. Okay. The purpose, what's the purpose of doing it? Adjust the pay level in response to changing rates paid by the competitors. Okay. Set the mix of pay forms related to that paid by competitors. Set a mix of pay elements related to the paid by the competitors. Then establish or price a pay structure. Establish a pay structure. Then analyze pay-related problems. Analyze the pay-related problems. Then estimate the labor cost of product, service, and market competitors. Okay, establish the labor cost of product, service, and market competitors. Then select the market. How you select the market is being selected, labor market. So relevant labor market includes employers who compete with the same occupations or skills. For employees in the same geographic area with the same products or services, you may try to define the labor market. What is occupation, skill level of other competitors? For employees in the, are they in the which geographic area? Are they within Kuwait or GCC countries? All that. Then are they also offering the same product or services? Those you determine the labor market. Then you try to collect the data. Data collection process involves organizational data, Then you collect the total compensation data, you know, all that. Then check the accuracy of job matches, you know, survey leveling, all that you do. Then check for anomalies, you know, does anyone company dominate? No, does anyone company dominate? Do all employers show similar patterns? All employers show similar patterns. That you need to look at. Is there any outliers? What is outliers? Outliers is, you know, are they all in a same norm, or are they just, you know, someone is beyond the normal trend? You know, is there any or below the normal trend? You know, that you check whether what is the trend in the data. If you look at the data, you may figure out, are they all coming in the same pattern, linear sequencing, or is there any anomalies, outliers, you know, going very high or very low? Those data you try to analyze. Okay. Then after looking at the outliers, then you get into the data, then you go for data analysis. How you do the data analysis? When the salary data is aged. For example, I have done my salary survey by a consultant 2 years back. So 2 years back, I did the data and I have the data, you know, I didn't done the survey. So now what I have to do is I have to age the remuneration data by considering the current inflation rate, you know. So I will multiply, you know, the whatever data, and then in proportion to the consumer price index, and also the peer group, what they are paying competitors, you know, the average mean pay, the median pay, I consider that. Then you age the data. The movement in the market rates is, you know, the movement of the market rates, what is prevailing, is all used to adjust your outdated data. You have 2 years old data, then you can update, you know, you can upgrade the data. Okay. In other words, aging is the practice of adjusting the outdated salary data and then making it very current. You know, aging is the practice of adjusting the outdated salary data and then making it current. Okay. The job. So then, Maha, when you want to speak, you can open. Okay. Now, if a job on a survey is similar, but not identical to one in the organization, that is not identical in the organization, the data can be, you know, weighted or leveled for a better match. Therefore, collect the job. You have to conduct the job analysis or you have to thoroughly review the job description. You know, this was my job, you know, earlier when I was working automotive banking, what I used to do is, you know, thoroughly you have to review, update your job description and do, if there is a new position or there is a position significantly changed, restructuring has done, then you have to do a job analysis, you know, making the job current, relevant. Then some salary surveys do not provide a data. Salary survey do not provide provide a data for a specific geographic area. You know, since wage rates vary by location, and organization should factor for geography any national salary survey data for the local or regional recruiting area to approximate the local wage rates. This is how you try to figure out, you know, what is a norm, you know, what is in this country, what is prevailing market condition. And it may vary according to the location for a GCC country or America, North America, Asian countries, you know, Middle East. So according to the locations, you have data, and you have to factor the data according to the geography and national salary survey data. For example, some of the governments, they publish, or some NGOs, they publish the data, you know. So those data also we have to consider. For example, KPMG Consulting, I have the data, no? They publish what is the salary trend, and also McKinsey, McLagan, the Hay Group, no? They are continuously publishing. We can refer to those data also. Then survey data for the local and the regional recruiting area to appropriate you have to approximate with the data for your local wage levels. Okay. Then can you answer this question? HR manager reviews widely published salary data to ensure that the company compensation is superior to regional competition. A potential outcome of this lead compensation philosophy is, they have published salary data, they ensure that the company compensation is very superior. They want to lead the market superior to a regional competition. A potential outcome of this lead compensation philosophy is what?
B, improve ability to attract and retain.
Excellent, absolutely. B, improved ability to attract and retain scarce skill employees. Attract and retain the scarce skill employees. So other things being equal, the higher the pay level, the higher the labor cost and higher quality of workforce. Other things are being equal, the higher the pay level, the higher the labor cost and the higher the quality of workforce. Okay. Okay, now here's the crux of the matter. You look at this graph, this picture, a lot of insights we can draw upon this insights. If you look at this, the green, the red one is the policy line. The P50, it's a percentile, 50th percentile, or the key market line. When you conduct the survey, remuneration survey, you tend to figure out what is the 50th percentile prevailing in your peer among the peer groups. For example, Maha case is an automotive. Among the automotive companies, what is the 50th pay percentile? That is means 50th percentile is the center point. So 50% is below and 50% of salary is above. So you are trying to get the median salary from the market. Okay, the market line. Then you are trying to get that data from the market, the red line, and then the yellow one is actual data, your actual pay. So by looking at upfront, what you can infer? Are you paying above or below? Think what you are paying now. Just a minute, I'll come. Just think and tell me. What do you think? What do you think? For actual data on the yellow line. This is your actual company data, your salary data in your company. But this is a policy line, market line, from the market, what the data you are getting. That means what?
Benchmarking.
Yeah, are you leading or matching with the market or lagging behind? This is a question. Are you leading market or matching?
This red one is market line, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Here you have the salary and wage. Salary is there, and you have grades. So you have taken your company grades with the salary, and this is a graph you are getting. And from the market, what they are paying, the general practice, this one, red one. So that what's the what you can infer from this?
You're paying more.
You are paying more. Yes, you are leading. You are paying more, right? And then it's possible that you can also pay at the 75th percentile. That means you are very superior, leading the market. Market pay 50th percentile a year, but if your salary is on the green line, for example, maximum pay you are giving. That means what? You are leading the market. But some of the companies, they may pay this level also, minimum. Trailing the market at 25th percentile. That means what? The market is here, but your pay is here. That means
Low.
Lesser than the market.
low, lagging behind. You're the far less than the market. Okay, and this is what you infer. And there's a formula for figuring out compare ratio. Compare ratio is been calculated by dividing pay divided by midpoint, the median, the 50th percentile. That gives an idea whether this pay the grade, for example, the grade 10, for the tax advisor, the minimum, mid, and maximum salary, is it going above the range, red circle, or within the range? That you can do it by this compare ratio. Okay, so the organizations may choose, may choose to match the market. They can organization may choose to match the market and pay approximately the same wages and offer benefits package, similar to that of the competition. They can, choose to match the market and pay approximately the same wages and offer a benefits package similar to that of the competition. Okay. Then some organizations, what they do, they strive to lead the market. Some of the startup company, because they just established, they want to attract people, just start a bank. So established banks, people are highly paid. So you need to do that people, So how do? You have to raise your pay, like you may have the yellow line, you may go for yellow line, or you may go for a 70th percentile also. So here the organization is striving to lead and recruit and retain most desirable talent from the labor pool by offering a higher salaries and better benefits. Okay, when using a salary survey data, leading the market typically equates the 75th percentile of the market. Okay, other organizations are deliberately, out of economic necessity, or to control the labor cost, lag the market and establish their pay rates, or benefits level below those offered by other employers. This is going below, lagging the level, lagging. They are, say for example, here you see the 25th percentile, they are below the market trend. So why they are doing is because of market economic necessity. No, they cannot afford. In order to control the labor cost, they lag behind the market and establish their pay rates and benefits levels below those offered by the employers. Are you with me? Okay. This reduced labor rates, may enable the organizations to offset other higher costs such as purchasing, you have other expenses also, purchasing, distribution, or sales expenses. When using the salary survey data, lagging the market typically equates to 25th percentile of the market. Clear? Clear? Okay. Let's move on to the next. Okay. Now, shall you answer this? An executive compensation plan will emphasize which of the following factors. Guys, am I audible? Is there any disturbance? Anything? What's the answer? An executive compensation plan will emphasize which of the following factors. Yesterday.
Yeah, balance risk and incentives.
Wow, brilliant. Who said first?
Ranjita.
Ranjita, oh, yes, he's there. Okay. So the balance risk and incentives. Okay. That's the executive compensation plan. The primary focus emphasis on the balance the risk and incentives. Executive compensation plan should be easy to administer, be considered fair, support the organization goals, and balance the risk and incentives. Okay. Now let us look at the executive, how it looks like in the executive compensation planning process. Okay. You have base pay, okay, base pay. Then you have short-term annual incentive or bonuses, long-term incentives and capital appreciation plans, then executive benefits, perquisites, and golden parachutes. Okay. Look at this corporate executives, the performance targets, compensation recommendations, corporate executives in the human, these are all corporate executives. And then you have executive compensation consultants are working on, and some of the companies, they have remuneration committee, remuneration committee, compensation committee, they form representation from the C-level and the board members, they have to get the approval from the board. And then corporate executives also, they determine what bonus to be paid, what recommendations, they have to, all that will be determined by the board level. Okay, the components of the executive pay package includes the base salary and the short-term annual incentives or bonuses, then the long-term incentives or and capital appreciation plans. These are all involved, the components of the executive package. The perquisites. What are perquisites? Perks, they say, base salary is usually guaranteed one. Your indemnity calculation all done based on the base salaries, the mandatory. You cannot reduce or it's a fixed one, guaranteed one. While other forms of compensation are at risk, like we have seen before, variable pay, depending on the performance factors. As Maha said, depending on the performance, she said. Although formalized job evaluations, we have job evaluation, we looked at compensation, what's that? Ranking, factor comparison, point factor, we have seen the example, all these are helpful, job evaluation. Although the formalized job evaluation still plays an occasional role in determining what executive pay should be, what level they have to be paid. Other sources, despite this one, despite having this job evaluation methods, we need to consider other sources are very much more important. Particularly important is the opinion of compensation committee. You need to consider compensation committee, and the compensation committee composed of usually of the company board of directors or the subset of the board. Okay. Just 1 minute. Just come pick up what. Unmute myself. Okay. Are you with me? Okay. Let us look at this. We are looking at now the executive compensation planning process. The executive compensation package is having a short-term base pay. Base pay is which is mandatory. It's a fixed component. Then the short-term incentives or bonuses. Then the long-term incentives on the capital appreciation plans is involved. Then we have executive benefits like perks. Base pay is guaranteed, but then there are other forms of components such as at risk you are paying, like depending on the performance factors. Even though you have compensation, the job evaluation process in place, but then you still need to have a committee, compensation committee, remuneration committee, to get the opinions, from this multiple perspective, from the executive committee, where composed this committee, executive compensation committee, remuneration committee, you can call it, usually company board of directors or the subset of the board, they form this remuneration committee. The bonus or annual incentives are often play a major role in executive compensation and are primarily designed to motivate the better performance. Okay, in US under the Tax Act 1993, a publicly held company may not deduct the corporate tax preparation more than 1 million per year for remuneration paid by any single to any single covered employee, typically the CEO. Okay, may not deduct for a corporate tax preparation more than 1 million per year for a remuneration paid to a single employee. Okay, and 4 other highest paid employees, and also other four other highest paid employees. Performance-based compensation, such as cash bonuses, or it can be equity-based compensation, as narrowly defined by the Act, is not subject to the 1 million deduction limit. Okay, these are all, they have some mandatory requirements, but it's not better to know. But it is not mandatory for our exam point of view, but just better to know. Then we have incentive stock options, ISO, incentive stock options, purchase of stock at a stipulated price, conforming to the Internal Revenue Code. It allows deferral of taxation until the stock is sold. Okay, non-qualified stock options, purchase of stock at a stipulated price, not conforming to Internal Revenue Code. These are all the stocks. Stock option plans are exempted. They are not conforming to the Internal Revenue Code. So let us look at what there are among the stock options. There is a concept called phantom stock option, phantom stock plans. What is that? Phantom stock plans are cash or stock award determined by increase in the stock price at a fixed future date. You cannot exercise your tax until the fixed future date. The cash or stock award determined by the increase in the stock price, and then at a fixed future date. The phantom stock options arrangements are generally used when a company does not view ownership of a real equity by its executives as desirable. It is not does not view the ownership of the real equity by its executives as desirable, but seeks to create some of the incentives that goes along with having the executives feel aligned with the company's owners. Why we are giving this phantom stock option? Because you are making the senior executives to feel, let them feel like a owners. They also they have the pride that they are also owning the stocks for the company. That's the purpose. The ownership of the real equity by his executives are very desirable, but seeks to create some of the incentives that go along with having executives feel aligned with the company owners. And also you have some restriction, you are giving the stocks at a lesser than the market price, but they cannot exercise. That's a lockup period, for 3 years, 3 years lockup period. Can you imagine? Can you figure out why this lockup period? You are giving the stock less than the market price, but they cannot exercise. It's a kind of retention strategy. The executives may linger. They may stick on to the company for a particular period. After that period only, they can exercise the stock option. It is a sort of retention plan, retention strategy. Then we are looking at the stock appreciation rights. Cash or a stock award determined by increase in the stock price. The stock what I purchase, it is actually the value depends on the company's appreciation, the market moving rate. How my stock is performing in the market, open market. It may go appreciate or it may decline, you know. So it's always determined by the increase in the stock price during any chosen, option period. Now the COVID crisis, oil prices down, you know, the values are going down. But, you know, after, you know, we bounce back, it may increase, value can increase. So you have to wait and see, you know. So the restricted, what is the restricted stock option plan? Restricted stock option plan is a grant of stock at a reduced price with the condition they may not be sold before a specified date. This is what I was explaining before, you know. The purpose of giving like this restricted stock plan, giving the stock options lesser than the market price, and then you are, you know, restricting them with a specified date. You know, they cannot, this stocks what you purchase that cannot be sold for a particular period, for maybe 2 years, 3 years, you know. While stock options have value only if the stock option goes up in the value. A restricted stock grant has a real value. It has a real value. No, it is not like, you know, other stock, you know, it is fluctuating, going like in the market trend. The restricted stock grant has a real value when even if the stock remains stable, even it remains stable. Since the stock was, you know, essentially a gift, you know, it is given as a gift, you know, it is has a real value even if the stock remains stable. Okay. It is not attached to the market conditions. The performance share or unit plans, you know, what I'm trying to say, the restricted stock plan, you have, the stocks have a fixed value, you know, it cannot go lesser than, you know, in spite of, despite the market condition, it has a value. And but then you cannot sell for a particular period of time because the company wants to retain you. You know, that is the beauty of it. Okay then. Then I think this is enough. I think. Then executive benefits, you know, executive benefits often receive additional life insurance, you know, exclusion from the deductibles for a health-related cost, and supplementary pension income exceeding the maximum limits permissible. Okay, now let us look at the perks or perquisites, you know, for the executives you give, you know, and a special privilege for the executives, such as club. You may give a club membership, company cars, reserved parking spots, or executive dining rooms. What else you give? You know, you may give a box seats in the athletic events, now soccer leading matches. No, you may give us tickets for that, and or a big concert, these are all the non-cash entitlements. No, you may get. However, with the passage of the 1993 Tax Act, the Tax Act 1993 says the tax advantages of the most of these perks to both the corporation and the executives have been greatly diminished. Now, because of this tax implication, the perks value has been diminished. The value is gone as value. No, it doesn't have the value attached as it is perceived. So and moves toward more equal treatment of executives and staff employees. You know, it is trying to not give, you know, special perks for the executives and the staff, but the value is being diminished. Okay, and it's equal treatment for executives and staff employees have lessened this has lessened the popularity after introducing this tax act. Okay, then we already we discussed, you know, the parachutes. Do you remember the golden parachute I talked about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we'll discuss that. Okay, these are clauses. You know, when the contract, employment contract for the executives, there are clauses written the executive contracts that provides payments to a key executives who might lose their positions, you know, or be otherwise disadvantaged if another company took control of their organization through merger and acquisition. You know, what is happening there? They put it in writing. Public companies' leadership structure, you know, corporate executives, the board of directors, specifically the compensation committee, and outside advisors, executive compensation consultants, provides proper checks and balances on the compensation through oversight. Okay, key roles and responsibilities of these players. You know, who are all these players? You know, corporate executives. You know, to set the company and individual performance targets to set the company and the individual performance targets, provide a compensation committee with the recommendations on the compensation levels for executives, and then they incorporate the HR team into the compensation planning process. It is decided at that board level compensation committee. Then later on they involve the HR team. Then the board of directors. What's the role? Board of directors supply corporate governance, oversight, corporate governance oversight, and business experience. Be shareholders, representatives to the company, providing insight, independence from the management. It is actually having an independently, autonomy. It has autonomy. It doesn't have control from the internal. It is independence from the management. Okay, the compensation committee of the board of directors is autonomous. Okay, it doesn't have any influence from the management. The compensation committee of the board of directors of the company shall be, to discharge the board's responsibility relating to compensation of the company's executive officers. This committee's role is to discharge what should be paid for the corporate executives, and the severance pay, the performance pay, or the distribution will be determined by this compensation committee. Then you also engage outside advisors. Outside advisors like to present the independent third-party compensation expertise to provide opinions, reasonableness through an independent analysis and the processes. In conjunction with the HR leadership, management should work together to many company performance forecast, long-term objectives, budgets, and remuneration recommendations for the compensation committee's considerations. Okay, compensation committees are responsible. Compensation committees are responsible for setting the CEO pay. Compensation committee is responsible for setting the CEO pay, top level. Imagine, and that is very fair to the shareholders. They are the people who are determining the CEO pay, what should be paid, when to be, what kind of bonuses he should be getting. All that's determined by the this board level. Okay, what else? Okay, in this CEO pay has to ensure that the appropriate performance hurdles are in place and providing payouts that are clearly aligned with the actual performance. They have to make sure the pay is in alignment with their performance. Okay, so the executive compensation consultants, meanwhile, provide an independent third-party perspective based on a market data and experience, presenting recommendations independent of management's and the committee suggestions. Their recommendations are independent of management's and the committee suggestions. Okay, let us look at this. This I am giving a more elaboration on pay for performance. Now many of the companies, they are making this performance-driven culture. So I have given very elaborate, very extensive, comprehensive study into this subject, because we need to be thorough in it, because many of the companies are following it. The incentives compensations play a very strategic role in increasing the organizational effectiveness. Intense foreign competition and stagnant productivity growth have forced executives to explore ways of rejuvenating the productivity. Nowadays, after post-COVID, when you resume to the work, imagine what is going to happen is actually you try to squeeze the employees, right, for extracting more, and productivity is expected. So this is what expected, because the cost constraints and lockdown period, you have to compromise. So this is a time challenge for you to rejuvenate the productivity. So one of the most popular remuneration is to offer financial incentives that are directly tied to productivity. What you can do, you can try to introduce as incentives. If they are able to achieve certain targets, they will be eligible for this incentive. You have to make it clear, well in advance. so that you can get the desired, behavior, desired performance. You can drive the performance. So these incentive programs loosely referred to as pay for performance, as simple as. It is not pay for your years of experience. Okay, it is pay for performance. Okay, have significantly increased productivity in companies where they have been installed, and surveys generally find that they also have a positive impact on employee morale. Is boost the employee motivation, morale. There are numerous methods of rewarding individual efforts. Most pay for performance plans are either individual or group or company wide. Incentive plans are some combination of all three. It can be individual level, or it can be a group level, or it can be a company wide. Incentive plans in a combination of all. It can be a combination of all these three. Okay, let us give an example. How it is being structured, so that you can easily relate. By looking at the example. Here you are looking at the typical example for that merit pay. Now every banks where I worked, banks year-end annual performance review. The annual performance review is linked with the merit pay. So how you manage that is a nightmare. Managing is very sensitive also. So we have to do it very carefully. So the most popular pay for performance method is a merit pay increase. This method consists of periodically evaluating the performance of all employees and giving a commensurate pay increases. According to the performance, you may try to give a pay increases. High performers receive large merit increases. High performers receive large pay increases than the low performers. You are differentiating the high performer with the low performer. The merit pay increase is awarded in addition to cost of living increases. The merit pay increases is awarded in addition to cost of living increases or merit pay increases for additional education or years of service. Okay, then you are looking at the straight piecework. Straight piecework method. This is amazing. What happened traditionally, conventionally, everyone is getting incentive 25 cents per unit. Dollars, $25 or 25 cents per unit. Here dollar value is it's a number of units produced. So irrespective of the performance, you are getting 25 cents per the unit. The state piecework is the oldest and the most common incentive wage plan. Okay, and it is used over half of all the incentive wage plans. Okay, originally state piecework plans paid a fixed rate per piece regardless of how little the worker produced. See here, this graph you will see, irrespective of the number of units produced, you are getting 25 cents, irrespective of that. Today, most piecework plans have a guaranteed base rate that is at least as high as the minimum wage rate. Then what happened? Taylor is a psychologist, industrial psychologist. He introduced, Taylor's introduced a differentiation piece rate plan. Okay, here, whenever the people who are producing, more than the standard baseline, if they're producing more, then they get, more, 27 cents per unit, if more than the standard, if they produce, this is what the Taylor proposed. It makes sense, right? Then, if they are making below the standard, then 22 cents per unit. If it is less than the standard, eventually what happens? These people may get rid of the company, right? So this is how you differentiate. It makes sense, right? So when you are designing the incentive, you need to keep in mind, you have to first figure out what's the baseline, what is a norm baseline. Then if they exceed the baseline, what will be the incentive? If they underperform, what will be the incentive? Okay, this is what state fees work. But if you look at many industry wise, people, for example, I'm giving 3 examples. you can have different scenarios. Like, for example, Mona is working in a consulting firm, and Ranjita is working in a sales-driven company and Salesforce, and you are working in an automotive company. So different companies have different components, different packages. So, for example, job A, clerical position in a credit union bank, a clerical position. You'll have a base pay with the 85% of the component, pay 85% will be remaining a base pay. Then 5% is individual incentive and 10% is a profit sharing. Across company, you may give profit sharing 10%. Then the job B, metal worker in a metal shop, you will have 80% given as a base pay, determined partly by individual performance. Okay, and then 20% is given as a group bonus. Then here in another scenario, sales supervisor, in the sales driven company like Ranjita, and Priya also yesterday she was there. There the base pay, when the sales driven company, we have base pay is very less, 30% only. Then the individual incentives remains 40%. Then the group incentives are 50%, 15%, and the profit sharing is 19%. Look at the beauty, how it's been designed. Manufacturing setup 80% and 20%, whereas here 85%, 5% and 10%. Whereas, for example, in a used car, Alsair used car, not certified cars, they have a base pay, very less base pay, and incentives, individual incentives are 40%. Then the group incentive, they have to promote the teamwork, so that is having a 15%. Then the overall company performance, they may share 15%. Understand? So then again, I'm explaining the stock option, what we discussed before, the executive compensation. The stock options is very simplified here, so you can easily able to understand. It is the simplest form. A stock option is the right to buy a company's stock at a certain price over a certain period of time. You have been given a privilege to buy a stock option at a certain period of time, usually 10 years. Okay, stock options are viewed as an inexpensive benefit because they don't cost a business any cash or cost any charge to earnings. Okay, it is just given as as option, stock options, and it is not directly impacting the business. However, they may dilute a company's stock if enough options are exercised. If they try to sell, do some transaction with the stock, then it may dilute the company stock. Okay, although numerous kinds of stock options plans exist, the basic premise of most is that the executives are given the option of buying a specific number of shares at a fixed price. The executives are given an option of buying a specific number of shares at a fixed price. The options can be exercised over a period of time, okay, which allows the executives to wait and see if the value of the market appreciates before they're buying it. Now they look closely monitor. When the market picks up, then they try to buy it. For example, if someone is granted a stock option, when the stock is trading at the $10, and it appreciates to $15, then the holder can cash out the $10 exercise price, and also called a strike price, and gain $5. He purchased for $10, then he's gaining $5 profit on each option. So if he has 100 shares, then 100 multiplied by 5, so 1000 multiplied by 5. So number of shares, you may get the profit. Options usually don't vest, or vesting is actually lockup period. I'm saying lockup. You cannot exercise anything. That's called vesting. Don't vest or become exercisable. You cannot do exercisable. You cannot do anything. Because why I told you? Because to retain the guys, key people, though they may not leave because they want to exercise, get the gain, and then they leave the company. That's why. So for at least a year, for a year after they are being granted. During periods of rising stock prices, income from stock options, can be very sizable. The income what they get is amazing. So some of them become a millionaire out of this, while selling the shares and got the profit. and they made good money out of it. So for high salaried executives, income from stock options can easily double their income from the bonuses and the salaries. Okay. Okay. Now after now long lecture, now let's get into the quiz. Very interesting. So when employees return to work after a natural disaster, HR's most effective support is to quickly, because
A.
Mona wanted to have a every we are having now a quiz actually in between presentation, but still Mona suggested we need to have parallelly running, not after the module, but she wants to have more and more question and answers. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, what's the A? Yeah, right. Someone said A. Who said?
Maha and I.
Yeah. Okay. So respond quickly to employees' concerns. Now after the crisis, now we are joining back, resuming the work. So this is what you have to respond quickly to employee concerns. HR support to return support to return employees to work as quickly and smoothly as possible benefit everyone. HR must communicate with the employees to answer any questions and concerns to help them promote the employee returning to work as quickly as possible. Okay. This is a process we need to follow. When they are returned to work process, gather the details and assess the situation. You have to do a temperature check, sanitization, all that. You may carry details and get the diagnostic report from the. Then you will ask whether they visited other countries, where they came back. All that you may do the investigation. Then consult with the health and medical specialist. Consult with the union representatives. When necessary. Then review the accommodation options, then implement the accommodation measures. Would you like to elaborate, or let me switch on to the next one? Guys?
Go to the next one. Okay.
Huh? What do you think?
Go to the next one, or?
No, okay. Now let me elaborate.
Maha and Ranjita?
Because this is relevant for the COVID crisis now.
Yeah.
So how to manage, manage to return to work in case often very complex responsibility. This your job now is very critical now. So return to work cases present as challenges because they involve a careful balancing of an employer's right to manage productivity. Employer has to manage the productive workplace, productive workplace with a worker's fundamental right to equality, dignity, and the privacy. This is we need to supposed to be providing equality, dignity, and privacy. So employers and those representing employers, such as directors, supervisors, human resource officials, may be unsure of how best to approach a return to work case, particularly when the employee requires difficult or unexpected accommodation measures. The step-by-step procedures presented below describe the general phases that apply to most return work situations. First, what you have to do is gather details and assess the situation. What you have to do is here, maintain a contact with the employee during the prolonged absence. Now, many people are not allowed showing up. You have to call up and find out what's the situation. How are you? What's happening? Things like that. So, but not all. It is a good practice to maintain, a personal contact with all the employees, during this absence. By getting in touch with the employee once in a while, you can find out how they are doing, and in some situations, find out approximately when they might be able to return to work. Some people who may go through quarantine procedures, some people are going through difficulty, got stuck in different phases. So you need to figure out when they are likely to resume work. This will give you time. To make arrangements in advance. However, you should not contact the employee. You should not directly contact the employee so frequently. They should not feel like you're nagging. Keep on calling. So don't call them frequently. that they they feel the pressure to return to work before they are able to. You understand? No, you have to play cautiously. If you call frequently, they get pressurized, but they may come with the without completing the quarantine procedure. So things that may pop up. Issues, risk may come. You have to be careful. Then respond when the employee tells you they are ready to return to work. Respond to them. If the employee requests accommodation measures that raise questions or concerns, you should immediately tell them that you would like to discuss their request further. And you should emphasize that you are concerned about the employee's health and need to better understand the situation in order to make a decision and find appropriate solutions. Okay, find appropriate solutions. Then supervisors are entitled to ask additional time to assess an accommodation. Okay, the supervisors are allowed to entertain additional time to assess accommodation request. If the employee doesn't provide enough notice period, he is not giving a notice period and then just coming up, unexpected return to work, then how do you manage? It's difficult, right, for their part. So employees have the responsibility to give their supervisors enough time to prepare for the return to work, particularly if they are requesting an accommodation for a specific need. They are coming within some accident, something, they need a support accommodation. So they may tell you, what kind of support they need from you. So they have to tell in advance so that you can make it ready. If you need extra time to consider an accommodation request, you should ask the employee if they are able to return to work, after you make everything clear, until the decision is made. So if the employee is unable to do this, you should arrange a temporary accommodation measures. If they come, then you have to make a temporary arrangements. So if it is not possible, the employee will have to remain on a leave only. Okay. If you advise the employee to stay on leave, you should have records on hand to demonstrate that you researched various options for temporary accommodation, but it's not feasible. So you are allowed them to extend the leave. Okay. Okay, I think this is enough, I think. So let us, as Mona suggested, now we are done with the conversation. We'll have review, okay? Or we'll further data analysis. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll go for review better.
Review better. Yeah. This is what Mona recommended.
Yeah. What about review? Review with questions, yani? For the test or what?
Questions. Yeah, test.
Yeah, okay. Right, Mom.
Because we need to, I'm doing it a bit fast, but bear with me because we need to cover, and also we have to balance testing experience, test taking experience, and also a little bit of getting to know the new ideas, new concepts. Then we will have to test our knowledge also. Both will happen. We have to have blended approach. Your every suggestion is being taken due consideration. Everything what you propose will be implemented immediately. Okay, let us answer this.
A or C? I think it's A.
Think.
A.
No, actually, I told you, when you are doing for a remuneration study, you may choose. You have 50 jobs, but then you may choose 10 to 15 jobs.
I wasn't there.
Key jobs. Those are key job benchmark jobs that you will find, and then you give it to the consultant to do the further benchmark study. So, what is that answer?
I wasn't there for that, sorry.
Okay. When using the point method, key jobs refers to Actually, they're not only for the benchmark jobs, here also the key jobs for the point factor. No? For example, you're looking at the skill, responsibility, effort, and the working conditions, right? Working conditions, skill, responsibility, effort, working conditions. We looked at the operator, no? Operator, what is the degree, skill level, responsibility, effort, and the working conditions. Then the total points. So what is the answer? The key job supposed to be the point factor. You can do this because it's not numbers are not involved, not quantifiable. So the job has to be what exactly you'll be looking at. Or should I waste? Huh? Yeah, what is it?
No, I see D.
Yeah, maybe D. Yeah, D. Yeah, equitably paid jobs that are well defined. Defined should be there. So the gain sharing is similar to profit sharing, but the bonuses are based on the improved productivity rather than the percent of the profit. Gain sharing plans normally reward employees on a monthly or a quarterly basis, depending on how the productivity is measured. Whereas profit sharing is usually paid annually. Profit sharing is usually paid annually. The most popular gain sharing plans are Scanlan plans, Rooker plans, and Impro share plans. Okay? Scanlan, Rooker plan, and Impro share. What is Scanlan plan? See, you have to understand what is the basics, basis of this. This is actually gain sharing plan. Normally, this reward the employees on a monthly or quarterly basis, depending on how the productivity is being measured. Non-profit sharing is usually paid. How you make a payment. The gain sharing plans. There are three kinds. One is a Scanlan plan, Rucker plan, and Impro share plan. Scanlan plan is a combination of gain sharing plan and employee suggestion system, while a Scanlan plan usually, okay, let us see first here. Scanlan plan is a combination of gain share planning and the employee suggestion systems. While a Scanlan plan usually increases efficiency and productivity, it also is advocated as a means of reducing the union management conflict. Is advocated to reducing the union management conflict. A Scanlan plan has come to represent a philosophy of industrial relations, whereby management and employees work cooperatively. Management and employees work cooperatively to increase the efficiency of the company and then share in the rewards. Okay. Although Scanlan plans were originally intended only as an instrument for a unionized company, the presence of a union is not necessary. The presence of the union is not necessary. Okay, who proposed this? Joseph Scanlan in 1937 to help reduce the cost in a steel mill. He proposed this idea. It is advocated as a means of reducing the union management conflict. It's an advantage. So it is usually increases the efficiency and productivity. It is a combination of gain sharing plan and employee suggestion schemes. This is a Scanlan plan. Okay, let us next look at the next one. Next slide. Okay. For example, when the standard labor cost ratio is 45% and 200,000 USD in sales are produced, then 90,000 is the expected labor cost. Okay, but when the actual labor costs are only 75,000, then 15,000 savings goes into the bonus fund. Understand? The ratio is 45% and 200,000 USD in sales are produced. then that will result in 90,000, no? Is the expected labor cost. Out of the labor cost is only 90,000. But then actual labor cost are only 75,000. Okay. Then the difference 90 minus 75 is a 15, right? 15. 15 savings goes into the bonus fund. The expected labor cost is 90,000, Baba. 90,000. But then you are able to contain the cost within the 75,000. You saved 15,000, right? So that will go to bonus fund, bonus pool. Okay. Most of this fund is usually 60 to 75% is paid directly to the employees. Part is held in the reserve for possible deficits, usually 25%, and some may be paid to the company. The bonus fund increases when the creative ideas help to either increase the revenue or reduce the labor cost. It can, either increase the revenue or reduce the labor cost. Okay. Then we are looking at the Rooker plans. Alan Rooker developed an incentive plan during 1970s called Rooker Share of Production. Rooker Share of Production plan. That is similar to a Scanlan plan, but based on more sophisticated accounting analysis of value added. Here is a bit complex because how can you have to determine what is you have to do a costing, to figure out what is the value added. The process you have to figure out. Here the ratio is calculated by dividing the labor cost by the value added rather than by total revenues as recommended by Scanlan. Okay. It is calculated by dividing the labor cost by the value added rather than by total revenues as recommended by Scanlan. Under the Rooker plan, a historical relationship is established between the total employee earnings, the total labor cost, and the value added by the employees through a production process. Value added by an employee through the production process. The value added by the firm is simply sales value of output less the cost of materials used. Okay. A standard productivity ratio is calculated. Then which expresses the production value required for each dollar of the compensation. As productivity increases, compensation also increases and is shared between the labor and the management. The ratio are revamped if the major change, restructuring, major downsizing, after post-COVID crisis, you may relook at it, this ratio. Then you have Impro Share. Impro Share plans are similar to Scanlan and Rooker plans, but Impro Share plans are, you can get the meaning from the word, Impro Share. That means, here see I have bold, improved productivity through sharing. Got it? So don't blink, don't panic. The word itself gives you a meaning. Impro Share means improved productivity through sharing. Okay? How the basic idea is that the firm sets a base level of performance, tracks the improvement in the performance, base level of performance, then tracks the improvement in the performance, and then pays the bonus proportionate to the amount of time saved either to all workers or just to those in the group being measured. Improvements in productivity are shared with the employees. Improvements in the productivity are shared with the employees, which explains why they are called Impro Share Plan. Improved productivity through sharing. Okay. Now advantage. One advantage of Impro Share plans over Scanlan and Rooker plan is that Impro Share plans can be used in a broader variety of situations where a physical product is not produced. Okay, for example, consulting job, Mona is in consulting, or my service, recruitment, training, these are all example, employee of a hotel could have bonuses tied to the occupation rate, that's why they are giving, if you take one room, another room free, and they are giving a lot of options, right? These are all, get the occupancy rate. And the employees in a training institute could receive bonuses tied to a number of people trained. If I more the number of people trained, I get the incentive, from my company. So oil refineries could tie bonuses to reduction in accident rates and environmental accidents. Then the retail companies could tie bonuses to reduction in inventory shrinkage, which is mostly caused by the employee theft or shoplifting. This is a reduction in the inventory shrinkage. Okay. Now let us go to that. Let us go to the question now. go back to the square one, where this, see, I will be taking